Allow me to take you back to 2010, when a particular LEGO Star Wars set came out that has stuck with me since.
The Emperor senses Anakin is in trouble. You can build his shuttle.
I can't explain why, but as a kid I saw this commercial and I was like, I want that thing. Unfortunately, back then, given the circumstances, I wasn't able to get it, but now that I have my own adult money, I thought, why not get the set I always wanted today? I'm very curious to it in general and how it holds up to today's standards. I also realized this probably wouldn't be the first thing you think of when someone says the set I always wanted. And to be fair, I can't really explain why I loved it so much. I just did. I guess as a kid it doesn't really matter. If it looks cool, then it's cool. But anyway, here is my review of LEGO Star Wars set 8096, Palpatine's Shuttle. Crazy amount of nostalgia with this box. It's got that 2010-11 style box art. Very nice to see that again. On the back, there's a ton of features shown the set has to offer, and even some other sets that were available at the time. The interesting thing about this box is the way it opens up, almost like a briefcase, kinda. Inside, there's 4 numbered bags, 2 large instruction booklets, and 2 little stickers. And just for nostalgia's sake, this box definitely deserves a spot on my box shelf. Now, let's go ahead and finally, after all these years, put this guy together. LEGO Set 8096 came out in July 2010 and is based on the Theta class T2C Shuttle, as seen in Revenge of the Sith. It comes with 592 pieces and at the time retailed for $70 and euros. I couldn't find the prices in pounds, unfortunately. Adjusted for inflation, that would be about $97 in today's money, giving you a value of 16 cents per brick, which is yikes. Back then, it would have been 12 cents, which sounds a lot better. It weighs 588 grams, meaning you were paying 11 cents per gram of LEGO back then, which is not a lot, and 16 cents today. Also today you're likely to pay anywhere between 130 and 180 euros for a sealed box, so the value has about doubled since. It includes 4 minifigures, 3 of which are exclusive to this set, with the exception being Palpatine. The instruction manuals combined have 122 pages, and guys, just look at this. Does this just not make you cry? It makes me cry. And here are the spare parts I ended up with. Now, like I said before, this model is based off the Theta class T2C shuttle we see briefly in Revenge of the Sith. It is interesting LEGO made this set in the first place, as we see it for such a short amount of time. But, if you didn't know yet, after Anakin was left behind on Mustafar, Palpatine came to his rescue in this very shuttle. He flew him to his surgical reconstruction center to fix him up. It is so niche, but I really love that about it. Now first, however, the minifigures. Starting with the highlight, the damaged Anakin Skywalker. This one's quite unique for obvious reasons. There's only one other damaged Anakin figure similar to this in the Darth Vader transformation set, and I must say, while that version might have better body prints, I love the face on this older version much more. Leg printing would have been awesome, but hey, this is from a different time. He also comes with the classic Darth Vader helmet. That's very, very cool. Tiny detail, I do think his lightsaber should have been blue, because at this point he still was Anakin Skywalker, and I don't think his lightsaber turned red just yet. Just something I thought of. Next, we have Palpatine himself, and there's actually not that much to comment on here. This isn't the most interesting Palpatine minifigure, I'd say. He comes with a grey face and the classic hood piece, which I still like better than the new one. And his cape is made of the slightly harder and paperish material. It's not a super detailed figure, but he doesn't really need to be. It's basically just all black robes. The clone pilot in this set is very cool too, especially for his unique face print. That's what made him stand out against other similar figures from back then. His torso prints look very nice and detailed, and the same can be said for his helmet. One of a kind and very nice to have in the collection. Finally, we've got the 2-1B medical droid, and this guy is not really my favorite thing, mostly due to the color difference of the arms, legs, and body. The connection to the legs is also a bit flimsy and weak, but this unique torso and headpiece is pretty cool, and once again, one of a kind. Similar ones have been made, but not exactly the same. Now on to the building experience. Building this set was a ton of fun, partly because it's an older set of course, that's exciting for obvious reasons. Besides that, the build actually had some interesting techniques you wouldn't expect for something like this, especially the way the whole top half is attached. In some areas you could definitely tell it's outdated and the final model shows that too, but it wasn't really that distracting in any way. I spent more or less 1.5 hours putting this together. Later we'll compare it to the real thing and see how similar it is, but first let's look at the model on its own. It measures 40 centimeters wide with its wings out, 25 centimeters long, and 24.5 centimeters tall with the wings up. The thing as a whole has a cool design. I don't know, it might be just me, but I like the overall shaping of this ship a lot. At first glance, it doesn't look that outdated, but once you take a closer look, yes, you can tell this is an older set. The cockpit, for example, has a slightly basic design. It works for what it is, but nowadays you'd see a little bit more of a complex build. What sticks out like a sore thumb for me personally is the backside. I think this is a complete mess, and I'm pretty sure this could have been done better even back then. Yet, the actual body itself looks pretty decent to me, and I think it has a nice stud-to-tile ratio. What isn't the most charming is how the top wing has studs on one side and anti-studs on the other. As long as you display it from one angle, it's fine, but the asymmetry where it's not supposed to be can be a bit distracting. What's also worth mentioning is that the wings in their upwards position don't help with the aesthetic either, as this exposes even more anti-studs. The elephant in the room for me, however, is the white color. I don't understand why it's there, why there's so much white in here. I haven't found any source material that shows anything remotely close to white, and I personally think it looks quite bad in some areas, like that top wing and the bottom side of the wings. I feel like it makes the whole thing much messier than it needed to be. And that's a bummer because overall I don't think the shaping is that bad at all. This set comes with quite some play features, however. Those are absolutely worth mentioning. First off, the cockpit opens up, obviously allowing space for one minifigure inside and maybe the medical droid behind it if you want. And in general, the cockpit can be easily removed like so. I don't know why this is a thing, but it is. To access the interior, you can release these two levers and fold it open or take it off completely for the best access. It's a bit of a weird one and it feels very unstable while putting it together, but then when it's attached, it's actually very sturdy. Now inside here is the main gimmick of the set, Anakin's transformation into Darth Vader. Technically, this doesn't happen inside of the ship, but rather in Palpatine's surgical reconstruction center. But I mean, it's a cool feature, so let me just ignore that fact right now. You can put Darth Vader's helmet in place, add Anakin, and push down on these two rods to put Vader's helmet on. You do have to hold the figure down, otherwise this happens. Like I said, it's very gimmicky and not something I as a collector will be using like ever, but it's a fun detail and I'm sure awesome for younger kids. The lightsabers also have little storage spaces over here. The wings folding up and down is pretty smooth and strong enough to keep the whole thing in place. And there is also a landing gear which can be manually popped out like so. That looks pretty cool. And then finally at the back, there's a little gun that can be positioned as you wish. Now the question remains, how accurate is this compared to the real thing? I hate to spoil it for you, but it's not that accurate. Don't get me wrong, the essence is there, it's recognizable as Palpatine's shuttle, but the proportions are way off. The real thing is probably best summarized as much sleeker and streamlined. The shape of the wings is a bit different, the proportions of the cockpit and body, it's all just off. Then of course there's the white, like I mentioned earlier. I don't know who decided that was a good idea. It makes no sense to me personally, but here we are. The resemblance is okay, I'll say, but the accuracy leaves much to be desired if you're looking for an accurate model. However, I personally wasn't. Like I said, when I was a kid, I loved this set, and that is the sole reason that I bought it today. I didn't care what it was based on, it was Star Wars and it looks cool. That's more than enough. And you know what? Now that I have it, I guess I still feel the same. It is a Star Wars ship, it looks nice, it's pretty cool. It's nostalgic as hell. It might not be perfect, but it still has that special place in my heart.
Pros and cons.
For pros, the minifigures can't be ignored. This Anakin is super cool and the additional figures are most welcome too. It's got a unique and nice design that stands out against other more well-known Star Wars ships. And this one for me is personal. Nostalgia. For the cons, the most obvious is just the accuracy. First of all, it's not that close to what we see on screen. It's just a bit messy overall. The white is distracting and the back looks kind of strange. It's just not top-notch in that division. Overall, however, I still love it on a personal level, but that's just me. I think it's been a ton of fun looking at an older set for a change, especially one that I held so dear. If you like this type of content and want to see more, make sure to let me know down below in the comments. And in general, if you enjoyed this video, maybe check out this one on screen right now. It would mean a lot to me. Then I hope I'll see you in the next one.